stressed out, close to the limit, then warmly welcome to The Cool Way to Calm, the podcast where you find the fun, easy, odd, exotically Scandinavian, and of course, cool way to root in your to change the route in your leadership. This is a safe space for executives and leadership people to learn more and get ideas and get a moment of peace and calm in their hectic and fast running everyday lives. This pod is run by me, Dr. Annika, a Swedish medical doctor who has changed focus from illness to health, now helping stressed and busy executive leaders find calm, feel less stress, get more done, have more fun, and create bigger success. In this pod, I will discuss with my guests or by myself about challenges in leadership in the workplace, around employees, clients, the economy, and everything else that can come in the way. Today, I have the honor to present a long term friend of mine. We met on a course in the ancient time of teleseminars. We stayed in touch. He is in USA and I'm in Europe, and that has proved to be a great combination for helping each other update on a more global scale and also to be accountability partners to help us both stay on track. He is a wizard on online presentations and the technique to help make the best of it. This means that we work in different business fields, but with the same common denominator being helping the leadership level in the companies to better performances in all angles. Let me introduce Alfred Poor. Please tell the audience a little bit more about your very exciting background and how you got to where you are today.
Well, thank you, Annika. It's such a pleasure to be here with you as always. I'm not sure how I can embellish the glowing introduction you gave me, so thank you. Basically, I started out as a middle school science teacher and realized that I loved teaching, but I didn't love 45-minute segments, and that I wasn't well equipped to meet the needs of the students that way. And over the years, my methods of teaching have changed. I basically have built I've described my superpower as being able to explain complex ideas to people in ways that they can put to use. So a lot of this was through writing for publications. I wrote for PC Magazine for over 20 years. I was deeply involved in the display industry for a long time. More recently, I've had a publication, website, and newsletter about wearable and mobile devices for health and medical applications. And I'm still focused on that. But so that the content has changed, but the tune has remained the same, helping people make sense out of what they've done. Author, co-author of more than 15 books. And I guess most germane to our discussion today is I haven't had a job in 40 years. So it's
yeah, that's almost impressive.
so
If you see it that way.
It's a career path that I imagine some people might find to be stressful.
I bet that's it, because then you always have to be one step ahead when you talk about the money coming in, because you do need to have food on the table and that kind of thing. So being a freelancer is, yeah, that is a tough thing.
Yeah, and I guess, and it's not for everybody. I mean, there's
No.
as with any occupation, different personality styles are going to fit better in different kinds of jobs. I think that in order to make a career as a freelancer, and whether it's a consultant, a writer, an artist, I mean, there's just all kinds of people who have freelance kinds of jobs where you're working. It's essentially piecework. you're doing project by project rather than have a salaried position. And I think that the key thing is you need to have risk tolerance that's quite a bit higher than most people are comfortable with. But another thing that I think a lot of people miss is you also need to find ways to adjust to the risk tolerance of the people in your life, a spouse, your children, your parents. They may not share your daredevil, thrill-seeking kind of lifestyle, and so you definitely need to be able to acknowledge that. For my wife and I, it pretty much we put up a wall between my work and home life. We, as long as the money's in the checking account, as long as we've got, the lights are on and the mortgage is paid, she hasn't had to know too much detail about the ups and downs. Though certainly we talk about that, and something we share, but she doesn't feel that she has to be invested in the outcomes. That's on me.
Yeah, but I see also on the others for your clients that must be a gift to have you, because you are more free, so you can do whatever you want or whatever you get, so to speak, and they can have you for a longer time or for a shorter time, and that must be very good for business leaders.
Yes, absolutely. So I think that one aspect of being a successful freelancer is that it's more than your skill and it's more than your knowledge. I used to, when I worked at PC Magazine, again, wrote for them for a long time. I would say, and I would still say today, there are people out there who know more about the field than I do. And there are more people out there who are able to write better than I can. And there are more people out there who get along with other people better than I can. But there are not many people who can do all three as well as I can.
Yeah.
And it's that combination of skills and attitudes that help make me more valuable to my clients on a long-term basis. As you say, that the thing is that a client can use me as much or as little as they want. The flip side of that coin is I can do work for them as much or as little as I want. And so
you can say no if you feel that
I absolutely can say no if this isn't a good match, if it's not a good fit, if I don't feel like I'm going to be able to do a good job, or I don't feel that the compensation is going to be commensurate with the amount of energy and time that I'm going to have to invest to meet the needs of the client. There are some clients who, when I put together a proposal, I will silently put in what I call a PETA surcharge. PETA standing for pain in the whatever. But anyhow, but if I know going in that it's there are going to be some challenges with people I have to work with, then my the bid for my rates are probably going to just go up a little bit to cover that extra risk. So I think for leaders, I think when working with freelancers, it's important to understand this mutuality and what level of obligation is there. I mean, if you commit to me that I'm going to get a certain amount of work, I will commit to you that I'll block out the time and be available for that. If it's keep me hanging, and maybe we're going to start this project, and maybe soon we'll let you know. If something else comes along, I'm going to take the sure thing rather than the uncertain thing. So it's about communications and it's about trust. I think those are probably the two biggest factors on both sides of the equation.
Yeah, and they are actually the biggest factors in all kind of cooperations, even when you have a ordinary salary and so on, for people to want to stay. But you add something when you are a freelancer that is, I mean, they don't have to take responsibility for you if things go down for them, as they do have to do with people that are employed.
Well, they're not stuck with me.
No, exactly. They're not
They
stuck
don't have a
with you.
contract, ongoing contract where they have to keep me busy. So yeah, that's an important factor. I think it's also important for leaders to make the effort to understand what the freelancer is good at. What is the contribution that they're best suited to provide. I just heard a great talk by a friend and colleague, Chad Littlefield, and he does a lot of meeting facilitation and that sort of thing. But he had this recently, this speech on for leaders, and he encourages leaders to ask people, what would you like to do more of? Which I thought is really fascinating, because at one level it's saying, I care about you, but at another level it's saying, what's your most productive mode? What are the things that you do best and would like to do? And because if you like your work, you never work a day in your life, right? And so I think that's a really important thing to look at working with anybody, employee or freelancer, is what's the best that you can do. I mean, for me, when writing for publication, the three things that I tell a prospective client is, I submit my copy on time to the length that you've asked for, and it's clean copy, so your editors won't have to spend a whole lot of time rewriting what I've written. And that signals, that I understand what your problems are.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that you need stuff. You need the words when they're due, because you've got a publication cycle, and that doesn't wait for a freelancer who says, oh yeah, well, my kid had an extra soccer game, so I wasn't able to get it in on time. Sorry about that. That doesn't work.
No, and as you said, to ask people what they are best at.
Yeah.
And if you have people in your that are employed, you kind of, some companies don't even put people in the place where they are the best.
Right.
But if you hire a freelancer, you hire for something that you want done. And usually freelancers are good at what they are selling, because they don't try to sell things to do that they don't do.
Right. Hopefully.
As you can, hopefully, as you can do, as it can be in companies, because I've seen that there are maybe 2 or 3 or 4 people that are not doing their best because they are in the wrong place.
Yep.
And if you just move them around, you would get so much more, and everyone would be happy. But I think that many companies don't ask or look at that perspective, because they were hired for something in the beginning.
And people change. I mean,
that too.
And one of the things when I was working with college students and talking about their entry level jobs, I would tell them that your first job is an opportunity to get paid to learn. Yeah. Okay. So maybe you got all these folders that you're supposed to go file.
Yeah.
But don't just file the folders. Understand what's in the folders and why they're being filed and who needs them and what are they going to do with that information, and do whatever you can to understand how the whole business works. And in that process, you end up evolving with your understanding of the business, and discover, well, I see these salespeople and I really wouldn't like to have to spend my day trying to do the sales that they do, but this product manager who makes sure that the product is changing in the way that customers need, that's really cool. I would love to work for that person. And so I think again, yeah, if managers, if leaders at all levels could just say, what would you like to do more of? What would make you happy to do? I think, they'd end up with people in the right place a whole lot more.
Yeah, and that would benefit the business
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
And it's like about transparency, what is and what can you do and who can do what, and don't put people into this little in this little box here, and don't, what do you say?
It's okay to put them there temporarily, but
Yeah, of course,
understand that you may want to move the pieces on the chessboard.
And you are so right. When people start working, it's good to take. I usually I go out to schools and talk about being a doctor, just to because they have days where they have different people from different what do you call it, professions, and I go and talk to a class that is 1 year away from university, and they are doing science, and I come out for half hour and talk about being a doctor, and they are always talking, scared that, oh, I might not get in med school right away, and then I'm lost. And I usually tell them that it took me 10 years to get into med school, so there are ways, number one. And in those years, or whatever time it will be, use it to do anything, but do anything.
Yeah.
Don't just sit and wait, because it's not going to come to you. And even a bad job is a good job, because you learn so much, and you know what you don't want the next time.
Yeah.
And you learn how to not do it. And you learn about people, you learn about practical things, and doesn't matter what you do, just do. Because when you become a doctor in the end, that will be gold for you to know, because you become a people knower.
Yeah.
You know people.
Yep.
And I would say the same for whatever a business leader, when they are taking in people, to get people, youngsters who are curious.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was cruel. I would tell them that there are no boring jobs, just bored workers.
I'm going to use that the next time.
Yeah, because every job, there is fascination available in every job. I don't care whether it's on the assembly line or where you are. There's a lot to learn that's going on around you. And if you just make the effort to pay attention, to ask people what's going on, ask people at different job levels to explain what they do, you become so much more valuable. So sort of the flip side of that is, as you might imagine, over the years, I've had many people, especially young people, come up to me and say, I want to do what you do.
Yeah.
How do I become a writer? How do I become a public speaker? How do I, get a book, be a book author? And I have to admit that, there's some romantic kind of appeal to this. The blush goes off the rose pretty quick once you actually get into the nitty gritty of it. And like I say, it takes a certain kind of person to thrive in this kind of an environment. But one of the most important things that I tell people who are starting out as a freelancer, especially in writing, you'll be going along, and maybe the work falls off a little bit, and so your income drops a little bit. Well, the tendency is to think, well, that's just a dip. That's just a temporary blip, and I'll just get over that, and we'll be back to where we were. Well, there's the possibility that's not a blip. I wrote about personal computers. Well, when the computer you want costs $3,000, you care which one's best. When it costs $300, you don't care. And my career just went down. I was an expert in displays at that point, so I was able to help people understand about the new flat panel televisions that were coming in, what's plasma, what's LCD. But again, when the TV you want costs $5,000, you care. When it costs $500, you don't care so much. And so I lost, that whole market again. And so then I moved to the wearables and medical stuff, and that still is a big bang, very active kind of marketplace. So, you need to watch out for those dips, because they're not necessarily dips, and you may need to make a pivot to doing something else. By the same token, you're riding along, and then all of a sudden you get a big job and your income starts to go up. Well, the tendency again is to think, well, that's a trend. It's just going to keep going. Well, that could just be a blip. And
and exactly.
After that
And
one
also,
job, you might be right back to where you were. So when you get that little up, don't go spend it. Put it in the bank. Because you may need that when it comes time to.
The problem when you get a bigger job is that you don't have time to look for new jobs that will come after, and the business where you are hired might want you 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and then all of a sudden it's over, and then you have nothing because you haven't had it. So
people coming from a salary position, you think I'm getting paid so much an hour, so I'll just go out, and when I freelance, that's what I'll charge. Well, no. Typically, you'll be very lucky if half your time is billable. So if you want to keep the same earnings, you probably need to charge at least double what you were being paid. And that's
absolutely
just a rule of thumb.
Absolutely, but that's another subject.
Another subject entirely. Though it is a way of avoiding stress, because there's a lot of people out there who are not charging enough, and so they're not making enough money, but they're working harder and harder, and they're busy. They can't take any more work, but they're not making enough, and that's a stressful situation. My point is that if you can't make enough to cover your expenses, then you don't have a business, you have a hobby.
Yeah, exactly. And then the business people that are hiring you, they don't care,
right?
Because that's your problem. And also, I think from a business perspective, from a business leader perspective, if you take too little money, then you are probably not good.
Right.
So you have to take at least enough money to be on the market, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. And how much you charge, I mean, as a professional speaker, that's a large part of the game. The fee that you quote gives a strong signal about it, just how good you are, and the quality of your presentation, and your information.
I had this tough journey. I was 54 when I started my business, so I've been working, getting a salary in a tax paid system. So you just don't think about money at all. It's just not there. The clients are coming because the patients, and you get your salary and you work your 40 hours or whatever, often a little bit more you work. but
That's still, a little more.
But still it's in a box, really. And when I started business, I had to learn what is payment, what is what do you ask for? How do you ask for it? What is it worth? And that was quite a big journey, because when I talked to business leaders in businesses and tried to get in, they didn't really help me, because they, tell your price. Okay. What is my price?
Yeah, it's one of the most difficult things.
Yeah, so I've been on a long journey for trying to figure out what I'm worth, and how to ask for it and what to ask for, and when to do things for free. And I still the doctor, so I'm always kind of wanting to help, because that's in my DNA from being a doctor.
In my experience, and this goes for business leaders and freelancers and everyone, but especially freelancers. Yeah, I hate to say the world is divided into two kinds of people, but this is sort of an example. There's one group of people who are focused on trying to separate people from their money in any way they can, and then there are other people who want to help people and hope that the money will come from that. And
I guess
very
I'm
different
the
approach.
later one.
Yeah, as am I. To me, it's I want to help people. I want to leave the world a better place than I found it. Trying hard at that, and I just have faith that I'll find a way to be able to do that and get enough in return that I can afford to keep doing it. So
Yeah.
rather than how do I make the most money I possibly can.
Exactly. No, my big mission is to help people not to become patients, and especially business people, because they are, as I see it, more vulnerable in a sense, but they can't show it because they are supposed to be the strong ones in the business, and they have to take care of everyone else but themselves.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
that's why I think this is a group that I really love to help to take care of themselves, so that they actually can be that perfect good leader for forever.
Yeah. And in fact, my target group right now is a group of leaders. I'm actually focused a lot on the founders of startup companies
Yeah.
as something as a group that I can help. And one of the areas that I help them with is they're doing more and more meetings online. They're
And
pitching to investors. They're talking to potential business partners. That and this happened because of COVID, but now COVID is not gone, but it's much less of an issue. But people are still using video like we are. If you or I had to travel to the other person's place to
we
do
would
this
not
meeting,
have met so many times.
it wouldn't have happened. So but the problem is that a lot of leaders at all levels, but especially founders, we've been trained to think that you can just turn on your laptop wherever you are and hold a meeting. And the problem is that you end up with people who look like this on screen.
Yeah,
With,
and they kind of creep
not,
out on you.
it's too close, and it's not professional, and it doesn't convey the message about you and your company that you probably would choose if you were more intentional about it.
Yeah.
So one of the things I help these founders with is be more intentional about the message that they're sending, how they appear, how they come across. Is it supporting their goals for their company?
Yeah, and it's very good to get to know this and to be taught this at an early stage, because then it becomes natural to do it in a good way, and that will be no problem for the rest of your career, and you can focus on the real business things and not
I would
things.
point out that your appearance online has evolved over the years.
I know, and I think I got some help from you. Well, we started off in the teleseminar. That was just the phone. So we didn't even see each other in the beginning in that program.
Yep.
So, I think it's time to wrap up. So we will end. It's been so much fun to talk to you, and it's cool that every time we talk, that it's kind of we get new perspectives and see things, and it feels so good to talk and learn from each other. Do you have one little tip or
So
thought or something
the
to?
the last thing I would leave you with, and this is true for all leaders, but I think it's also a problem for freelancers in particular, is imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
It's very hard to ask for money for things that come easily to you, and so, why would anybody pay me to do that? And
Yeah.
so I think one of the most important things for anybody in any position, but especially for freelancers, is to have a support network, is to
Yeah.
have people that you can bounce ideas off, and ideally a mentor who's got some experience and perspective in your field and can help put you back on track if you go off track. But somebody who can say, yeah, absolutely, you're worth it. Don't back down. This is what you're good at, or here's some things you need to learn how to do better. This is parts of how you run your business that you should be better at. But that's important kind of stuff. But so to have somebody or a bunch of people who support you, and you support them, I think that's an essential part of success.
I would say that that goes for the business leaders too,
Absolutely.
because, like I said before, they are more vulnerable because they are not allowed to talk about their real feelings and so on so much. So they need either a group of like minded or mentors of some kind where they can kind of get this out of them and get some feedback on what's going on, and so that they feel that they are okay and that things are working fine. So I think that is uh, underestimate under what do you say?
Underestimated. Yeah.
Yeah, for so many people that they think I don't need that because I know what I'm doing. But I think that helps a lot, and you do better.
It's it's partly I know what I'm doing, but I think even more common is, gee, people think I'm know what I'm doing. I'm supposed to know
Yeah,
what I'm doing. I can't show that I don't. I can't
yeah,
show that I've got questions. And
that's true.
it's that being able to open up with somebody and be vulnerable to somebody, who can give you the feedback, pro and con, that you'll need to succeed and advance in your career, whether again it's as a leader of a company or as a freelancer.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that tip. And also, thank you for sharing all the goodies and helping the listeners to thrive and become their best business in their businesses. And this is all for now, but please go back and listen to the recording of this discussion if you want, and to listen to previous episodes, and of course, look for the new ones that's coming out. Thank you for now and keep smiling.